All right, EXPs, good afternoon. I first want to say thank you guys for taking the time to join the conversation tonight. Tonight, we're going to be discussing discrimination within the experiential marketing industry. Now, I know this for some could be very controversial, but I felt like it was important for us to continue this conversation and talk about this because it is very relevant within our industry. And I also want to thank my panelists for being brave enough and open enough to come on tonight and talk about this subject. So we have 3 agency owners on tonight. Assist Marketing, we have Joe here. We also have Kaneika and Miles from Incursion. And then we have the Grayscale agency, Eric and Tinslee Alder here. So they're going to be shedding light on their experiences and working with us to provide solutions. But I do want to set a couple house rules. First off, this live tonight is not going to be a bash all and just negative conversation with regards to agencies. We are all here to learn. We are all here to grow. We are all here to listen to different perspectives and gain insight into the things that we are passionate about, but ways in which we can offer solutions to improve the current climate and the things that we face as EXPs. And also, we are going to ask the tough questions and we're going to be transparent. And I've asked all the agency owners as well as the EXPs joining us tonight to do the same and to be transparent. If you have questions, if you have comments, please go ahead and drop them in the comment section. I'm going to be checking and reading them as well, and we'll do our best to get to them in a timely manner. So I'm going to go ahead and serve as moderator tonight. I will take myself off the screen and I'm going to bring on, who am I missing? I'm going to bring on Mike and we're going to do introductions. So first off, like I said, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. If you can, go ahead and just introduce yourselves, introduce your agency for those who may not know you. Let us know what market you're based in, how many years you've either been in the experiential marketing industry or have been operating your experiential marketing or staffing agency. So let's start with Kaneika and Miles.
Hi, I'm Kaneika. We co-own Incursion Marketing together. I've been in the industry doing experiential events as a brand ambassador, team leader, all that kind of good stuff for going on 9 years and have been an agency owner for the past 3 years. So yeah, we're based in Las Vegas, but we do events across the country.
My name is Miles, also obviously co-owner of Incursion Marketing. Been in the industry about 12 years now. Started as a brand ambassador and then went and worked at one of the larger staffing agencies for about 1.5 years just to learn that side of the business, and then moved on to owning our own agency. We do staffing as well as experiential marketing and based in Las Vegas, like Kaneika said.
We'll go ahead and jump in. I'm Eric, one of the co-owners of the Grayscale agency. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada. We do events all over the country. I personally have been in the experiential marketing industry now for a little over 10 years.
I've been in for going on about 15 years. We've opened the agency in 2016. So yeah, we're starting on our 5th year of being open, and we're based in Las Vegas and service nationwide.
I'm Joe Wroblewski with Assist Marketing. I've been in the industry since 1999. I started out with the Pepsi Challenge in Milwaukee, Wisconsin during a summer program. Had no idea about this industry at that point. Went on when I was in college doing events, still had no idea. Then got a call to go on the road and spent 12 years on the road being a tour manager, and then started Assist Marketing back in 2010.
Jamar Yarbrough.
I am based in LA.
Go ahead, someone say something? No, go ahead, Mike.
Sorry. I'm Mike. I'm based in LA. I've been in experiential marketing for over 10 years. I've done BA work. I've done managerial work, team leading, product specialist, you name it.
All right. After Mike, I'm Scotty Pippen. No, my name is Jamar Yarbrough. I'm a Chicago market. I've been started as a brand ambassador. This is about my 6th year, off and on in the market. Yeah, I'm enjoying. I've been here. Just happy to get my input and see what I can do as far as with the industry.
Hi, I'm Carmen. I'm going on 11 years in the industry. My market is loosely Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, Dallas, kind of all over. But been everything from a team lead all the way up to working in office as an account manager as well as a staffing manager. I've also had my own staffing clients as well on the side that I've done through Walmart and various other avenues. So I'm very excited to just have a conversation and push this whole industry forward.
Hey there, I'm Shameen Rivera. I'm also out here in the Las Vegas market. I've been working in experiential marketing for about 29 years. I've worked all facets of experiential marketing, so from BA work to tour manager, from office work to client side, and currently I am on client side with Proximo Spirits.
Hey guys, this is Iffy. Good to see everyone again. I'm in the New Orleans market. I've been in the industry. I started off and dabbled in 2010, but I actually, made it almost like a career in about 2012. So I'd say about 8 years. I started as a brand ambassador with a company that was then called Identity Marketing, I think, which has since fused with Assist. And after that event, I just never stopped doing it because it felt like it was too easy money. So I kept on doing it since then. And now I've been a tour manager, field manager, local market coordinator, and I now work with Anheuser-Busch.
All right. So thank you guys again for joining us tonight. Let me go ahead and jump right into it. The other day, I reached out after everything that's been going on, and I wanted to cover this topic, and I wanted to make sure we had a diverse set of agencies. And when I reached out to Joe to ask him about it, the first thing he said was, no matter what I do or say, some will always say that I'm a racist. Nothing will ever change that. Let's hope we find some good from this discussion. And he went on to say, unfortunately, after I asked him, why'd you feel that way? Let's just have this conversation. Let's make a change. He said, unfortunately, that's the narrative some have chosen when they aren't hired. They don't tell others that they no call, no show, been fired from events, skipped interviews, etc. But hopefully we can enlighten others. So, Joe, I want to open up this discussion with you, and I want you to talk through your thoughts and what you've been feeling since, we've had that discussion.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Obviously, we've been in this industry for 10 years and have hired people all over the country in every market. I would say that 99.9% of our clients love diversity, and they love to have a diverse team, and they actually request that. And I actually had a field a call from a client last week that is excited about a huge program coming up in 2021. And he said, he could work with any agency, but he's excited to work with us because of the diverse teams that we put out there that he's had on his events. So he's excited about that. And so, it's disheartening, obviously Tuesday with the Blackout Tuesday, we participate in it. We've been participating in this for a week since all this stuff has gone down. And it still came across as us being racist, and there are still racist comments sent to us saying, that we are very selective on who we hire, and we don't hire X, Y, and Z, and everything, that we shouldn't be participating in this. And it's just heartening to hear that, because we make a very valiant effort to make sure that we have as much of a diverse team as we possibly can. As long as the staff are, up to our standards, we want diversity on our teams. And, no matter how much you do that, there are always going to be the people that claim that we're not, and claim that we're racist or whatever else it is. And, these Facebook groups, if you're in some of them and you see some of the comments about us in the past, or a bunch of them I'm no longer in, and I'm actually kind of glad I'm not in them, because it's just disheartening to constantly try and defend yourself and defend what your agency is. And no matter how much you say, well, go to our Instagram, go to our Facebook page, come on site with one of our events and see what we're producing and see the type of team we're out there. it will always be, well, that's the token and that's this and that's that. And it was just disheartening because we try and go with the best staff, and some of the people that are the loudest saying that we're racist and whatever else it is are the ones that have been fired. They have skipped interviews. They have skipped events, and or they immediately, the first time they don't get booked, go right to the race card, and it's just disheartening because a lot of times our clients handpick. We'll send over a roster saying, here's the 30 people that have applied for it, and they'll handpick them. And if they're not on it, automatically it becomes a race issue. And 99.99% of the times it's not that way. And I would say the other 1% of the time, it's actually our clients looking for more of a diverse crowd and more of minorities too, because they're pushing a brand that is going after a certain demographic. So it's disheartening that no matter what in these groups, and it's kind of the internet in general, that you feel like you always have to defend yourself no matter what. And we have a lot of great teams. We have a lot of great staff of all the ethnicities out there, and we really pride ourselves in trying to make our teams as diverse as possible.
I'm going to come back on. So in other agencies, I want you guys to chime in really quick. But Joe, I want to ask you, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, because I hear you loud and clear, but the perception is when EXPs, and many have voiced this to me, when they come to your page or they look at the photos from events, they don't see diversity. They see a bunch of either Caucasian girls or Caucasian guys. And even with the account team, they don't see diversity. So how do you explain that aspect of it to EXPs who may question, okay, you're saying that you have diversity in your agency, but the perception and from what they see, you're not, the brand ambassadors, the managers, or the leads that you're hiring don't look diverse. So what is your answer to those EXPs?
I would say that we do have a diverse internal team. We have let's see here. In the last year, we've had one girl from Bangladesh. We've had one African American. We've had one Mexican, Hispanic descent. And we try and interview people from all different races because we do want to become as much of a diverse team as physically possible. But at the same point, if we're interviewing people and we have a team of 6 that's doing the interviews, if someone clearly stands out above the others, we don't necessarily choose based on race. We're choosing based on who's going to be the best candidate possible. And so that's kind of where we come down to is when we do our rounds of interviews, we try and get as many different races in there, and even males. And our entire basically internal team is mostly females, but it's not for a lack of trying to get males. It's just based on the fact that our internal team thought that was the best candidate at the time. I don't know what to say about the field staff teams. If you go to our Instagram page, we're not trying to hide anything. Those are literally our teams that are out in the field, that are out at our events. There's some that those are just the best candidates possible. It's not something that we're choosing them based on specifically race. There's some markets out there that have absolutely fantastic minorities in it, and there's some markets out there that do not have very good minorities in it. And it's not something that we try and get the best staff possible. So sometimes it just happens that way. It's not done on purpose. We actually look at some of those teams and cringe ourselves because we want to get more diversity in there, because I think it's great for everyone. It's great for our clients. Everyone wants that, but we're not going to sacrifice the candidates, the talent level, just to become more diverse. If people are even, we're definitely trying to make the team as diverse as possible.
Thank you.
And to Joe's point, a lot of times us as agency owners, we don't have the final say in who we get to choose for our staff. A lot of times it's the client that picks, hey, that tells us we want this particular type of person and they got to look like this. And we send over a deck of, the potential candidates, and they have the final say on who they want to represent their brand. A lot of times it's not up to us to, a lot of times we want a more diverse representation when we put forth candidates for activation. But a lot of times it's not up to us. It's up to the client. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to go with who they want.
Yeah, I think, echoing what Kaneika just said, it's one thing I always tell brand ambassadors is go work at a staffing agency for a year and learn that side of it, for no other reason other than it will give you a better understanding of the hiring process, the agency process, the staff process, and most importantly, the client process. I've done decks of 50 candidates before, and it was a rainbow of people, and with all amazing qualifications. And then the client comes back and says, no, we want all that looks just the same way. And, especially when I worked at another agency or I was working for somebody, I can't go to the owner and say, hey, no, I don't want to hire these people that this, $100,000 client wants us to hire. That they don't want to hear that. You got to hire who they want you to hire. That's the client. They're signing the bill. And I think, to brand ambassadors and staff, understand that we as agency owners, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now if we didn't believe in racial diversity. If we didn't believe in making a change, we wouldn't be having this conversation with you guys right now. We do push. Kaneika and I have done a lot of stuff in the alcohol realm, which Shameen could definitely speak on as well, where, it's just working with alcohol clients where they have a very, I know someone in the comments said something about, whether having natural hair versus, straight hair. Sometimes the brand has a brand look and a brand, they have very specific things that they want. And I think especially for staff members who are trying to get into those very specific type of realms as far as, alcohol or promo modeling or things like that, understand the client's going to tell you what to dress like. They're going to tell you what to wear. And they're going to have a very, very specific look of what they want. And I'll include automotive in that too. So, are there bad agencies out there? Sure, of course there are. But I can tell you no one on this call is racially trying to discriminate you guys. Otherwise, we wouldn't be on this call right now trying to have this conversation.
Agreed. And the one thing I want to say, you guys, everyone that just spoke, it's everything you're saying is true. The one thing that we try to do is just educate as much as we can.
And I think we've run into that a lot. We ran into those problems just like everyone else has, where you have the clients that want to make the decision and they want to be invested in that, and they may have underlying, thoughts that are going to prevent us from being able to make that roster unique and diverse. So what we've done, and we switched our business model years ago, probably about 3 years ago, we were having issues with that, and we were wanting a solution. So what we've done is we've switched our entire business model to where the clients that work for us, we're not here to produce a cattle call of different people for them to choose from. You've come to us because we're the experts in our industry, and we're here to provide a service that you don't have the ability to do for yourself. So you've come to us because we're experts. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the decision and provide you with the staff that we know is going to be the best. And the way that we've helped to kind of combat clients that have issues with that is we have a lot of markets that are great. We have a lot of markets that are extremely diverse. We have some that aren't. So when we have markets that aren't diverse, we as owners make sure that we go into those markets and actively seek out wonderful minority employees so that we can fill those spots in the areas that we don't have a diverse roster. Iffy, I think you can, I believe I've even done an in-person phone interview with you. I have very little to do with the hiring anymore, but because New Orleans is such a market where we have more than enough Caucasian women and models, we need to do something about that. So the next time we had a casting for a client in New Orleans, I took that over myself, and I spoke personally to all 78 men and women that applied for that position. And it took me quite a while, but I wanted to make sure that when we have a market that isn't producing what we want when it comes to diversity, if we don't do anything about it to get more of those individuals, like Joe said, that are actually going to show up and do well, if we don't go out and actively find those, they're not going to come to us. So we've made a pledge about 3 years ago to change our business model and completely change that. Now, do we have clients that still want to pick out of our roster? Sure, but we're down to less than 6% now out of our entire client portfolio that does that. Because if they do have issues with choosing somebody diverse, we're still probably going to work with them while protecting our staff. It just makes it our job to make sure on the rest of the percentage of clients we have that we're doing our job and our due diligence to make sure that we include diverse people.
I'd like to join in on that conversation because yes, this is my eyeglass cleaner. I don't know why I'm holding that like a pointer. Too many presentations, but yeah. So I did interview with you, and it was really a pleasant experience when I did interview with you. I did feel a shift there, and as somebody who's been in this industry for 8 years, there's something to be said when you have an agency that is that seems to be at least visibly going out of their way to integrate diversity. And I think I'm going to touch base with Joe because Assist is actually one of the first agencies I worked with. So I can speak on a brand ambassador standpoint that worked for Assist, that I loved working for Assist. I think people are confusing Assist being racist with probably being elitist because Assist wants the best of the best brand ambassadors. It's what it is. And when I interviewed with them, I had the exact same experience. They don't want, just a pretty face. They don't want you to waste their time or their clients' time. And I think that perception is coming off to people as being racist, but I think I can confidently say, based on my limited knowledge of that team, that I don't think that they're racist. And I don't think that they have racist tendencies. But, we'll get to that in a second. But as somebody who has worked, and I now work for the largest brewer in the world, I will tell people this, because I work with the sales, I work with on the marketing side, and we look at what's called analytics of sales, analytics of marketing. Anytime a product is created, especially in a large corporation in the United States, it's created with a target consumer in mind. There's a persona that this beer or this drink or whatever it is that people are advertising these days, it's created for someone very specific. Now, the issue you will have is if a product is created for a specific persona and you want to integrate diversity, but it wasn't created for that person, now we're just inputting diversity just for the sake of doing it. It's like saying, oh, I have that one Black friend, or I'm going to hire that one Black person just to have diversity. That isn't always the answer. I don't think it's that linear. So I've had situations. I work on the conference for the last 3 years for this company. We hire like 100 and something people. And I'll tell you the truth. The clients come and they say, this specific beer is for white blondes. This specific beer or this, I worked for Diageo before this company. So they'll say Crown Royal is let's target Black people at this time. This is how money is made in America. If people want to really dig down deep, you don't need to start talking to these staffing agencies. You need to look at the focal point of these large corporations that have literally nitpicked and drawn out what they consider to be the perfect consumer. That has nothing to do with the agency.
Well said, Effie.
T, you want to add something to that? Because
No.
he was up here clapping like this, y'all.
Well, that's so true with the corporate America and what you was stating, that they target a demographic, and what they don't realize is that target demographic has changed.
Right.
What they think appeal to this one demographic is totally different now. Even working in high-end exotic cars, the target demographic, what they picture. One British man, I was working with a high-end British man. He worked directly for the corporate company, and he looked around. He said, "Wow, it's not what I thought." And I was like, "What you mean by that?" Because I'm the type of person, I'm gonna ask you the question. I said, "What do you mean by that?" He said, "What I see here is not what we pictured." He said, "It's young, it's different races here who's really interested in this vehicle."
No, we were at quarter excellence.
The quarter excellence. So it's a high-end exotic car, classic cars, and all of that. And he was like, "Wow, I didn't expect it to be like this at this event." So he was like, He was basically summing up in his mind for next year that, all right, integrating more of diversity and understanding their consumer, they need to go back and reprogram that into their decision, what they make. So I sat down, we had like a good hour and a half conversation, and he was so in awe. But like, go back and again what you were saying, that they have this target demographic and they don't realize that that demographic has changed and has broadened. So that show you that America has diversity has broadened even more, and they are losing consumers by just targeting that one target that they thought was there, and they are losing out on other consumers that potentially could be there to grow the brand. So that's why I was hand clapping you, because I ran into that just in February over that with a client too as well.
Yeah, I've seen analytics, and to be in these meeting rooms and to really see what these large corporation leaders are doing, it is down to the most fickle thing. It's not even, hair is not hair is not important. It's down to the zip code. It's down to where they shop. It's down to where they went to school. There is so much that goes into how that persona is formed. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I have Tinslee on the line here. If Tinslee was selling weave, I probably wouldn't buy it. I'd probably buy it from Kaneika. And that's just my honest truth. Because in my mind, she is not the target consumer for the weave that I have on. And I know it's a silly comparison, but
no, it's a great comparison.
You know, you get what I'm saying.
It's demographics. I mean, that's the thing. I think that the experiential industry is such a weird industry, especially on the brand ambassador kind of level of it, in that you have essentially people who are coming in as gig workers for the most part, right? So it's basically you're coming in, you're making your $20 an hour, whatever it is. You're not really, and whether you should or shouldn't, it's your own choice. But most people, let's be honest, aren't coming into this looking as a career. It's not something they're coming in and saying, hey, you know what? In 10 years, I'm going to work at an agency. And then after that, 5 years from that, I'm going to do this and this and this. And that's a big thing where it's like, you know, I think the understanding of demographics and stuff like that would help out a little bit with this conversation, you know, based on if you're going to go apply for this particular brand, they might be looking at demographic. Like, yeah, they're going to look at, you know, if you're going for an Irish whiskey brand, for example, they might say, hey, we want to hire, you know, white women with red hair that fit into what the promo model was we used on the poster. Or they might not, you know, but it's like understanding that brands have certain looks and certain ideas and demographics. And on the staffing agency side of it, we're so low in kind of the conversation. By the time the RFP gets to us, it's already been established what the experiential agency wants to do. You know, we're not the ones that are saying, all right, well, we want this look and this look and this look. That conversation was had 4 or 5 RFPs ago, you know, by the time it gets to us. So again, I think that's why it's so important for brand ambassadors who are serious about this industry, go work for a staffing agency and not like your friend's staffing agency. Go work for one of the, you know, larger staffing agencies where you can really get in there and really learn how this market, how it all works. And you know, and then say people are racist if you still don't understand it at that point.
And in this industry, it's a lot of it's beyond race, and it's sexism in certain ways too. As your liquor brands, a lot of liquor brands only want the cute females, and we do a lot in sports, and so sporting events, especially golf. Think of PGA golf. Think of what your target consumer is. That's going to be at a PGA golf tournament. It's going to be someone between the ages of 30 and 45 males, and so they, you know, a lot of our clients say we want only females to work the event because we all know that sex sells and sex draws people over to the display, and there's no two different ways about that. You know, it's not something that we're sitting here trying, because we get messages all the time saying, again, you're only hiring females, all you care about is females, and it's, you know, this is what the client wants, and they have their own demographics that they're trying to shoot for. And you know, as much as we could recommend other things, we're not going to lose the business over trying to tell them that we want a male on one of our events. It's
above our pay grade to tell a client or a brand what their demographic is. That's not we're not the ad agency. you don't get to do that.
And go ahead.
With regard to on-premise, I can tell you this: a lot of times after we've, you know, in the on-premise, you know, world, what happens is we will sell in a promotion based on many different factors. But when we do complete a promotion, well, I should say when we ask our agency to complete a promotion, the salespeople like me will go in and just, you know, make sure everything went well. You know, you want to make sure that your account was happy. And 9 times out of 10, I'll get, you know, the male owner or male manager say, hey, yeah, next time can you get me some more hot, you know, even more hotter girls? You know, this girl wasn't as hot, you know, and it's like, okay, I got, you know, like, and I was here that night. I saw her. She was really pretty. You know? So it's a lot of times it is what the account is looking for. But take heart that even on my end of things, when I ask my first question is make sure that we have someone that likes to talk to the public and is able to emote. And I take very big care of my accounts to make sure that they're happy with what we're doing. So a lot of times, we do have these big accounts.
So what do you say? And I'm hearing all of you guys, and I appreciate you guys providing this insight, because for me it's eye-opening. But on the flip side, there have been times when I have been on site as a product specialist, and I, out of all the product specialists, was the only Black person. Mm-hmm. Or I was told when I interviewed with a very well-known agency that hires product specialists, oh, your hair is too ethnic, or you need to straighten your hair because we wouldn't hire you because your hair is too kinky. I have been told that. Or there have been instances where I was more than qualified as the manager, and someone else was chosen for that position, and I ended up on tour having to train that manager who knew nothing, but because they fit the look that a client wanted, because of that, they were given an opportunity, not necessarily more experience, but because they had the look. So as a Black female, it can be disheartening when you get on site and you see instances time and time again of that occurring. Or when you're a tour manager and the client comes on site and walks beelines to a Caucasian BA as if they are the manager. And then when the BA says, oh no, Jay is the tour manager, and they have this look like almost of surprise, like you shouldn't be in that position. Or when you have on-site contacts who completely, and this is not you guys, but I'm just saying, completely ignore requests or don't take serious the things that you're telling them in regards to how you want a footprint set up. And these are just instances that I have experienced as a minority female, executing tours as a tour manager, dealing directly with clients. So I can speak from personal experience and say that, but to your point, I understand oftentimes it's not you as agency directly, you have clients. So what do you say, agencies, to the EXPs like myself who have experienced those instances where, they may not have been chosen, even though they were over or even more qualified than the person that's serving in a tour position and maybe paid less? What do you say to that person who has had those experiences with regards to feeling discriminated with agencies? Because not every agency thinks like you, to be honest. Not every agency runs their practices and is, like I said, brave enough to have these conversations. So what do you say to the EXPs? Because for a lot of us, this is our career. This is our lifeline. So, and we love what we do, but we all just want to feel equal. We want to feel like when we go on site that we are represented and there is diversity. So I'm gonna jump off. I'm gonna let Mike back on, but agencies, you guys go ahead and tackle that.
Well, as a, Black woman myself, I am no stranger to, feeling discriminated against and feel like, there's some bias going on, and felt like I was overlooked for positions, and like I'm the token Negro at that event that day because I was the diversity choice for that event. Like, I'm no stranger to all those things. They happen. There are definitely, people that are racist agency owners. There's racist account executives. There's racist clients. Like, let's be honest. When you go to some of these forums for job postings in any, market, there's, abundance of, we want a Caucasian woman. It has to be 5'9", has to be, double D's, and like it's there in black and white. Like, there's no getting away from that. It's a part of the industry. But what I would say to those, minority people who feel like they are being discriminated against, it's not in your head. A lot of times you are being discriminated against, but you have to keep pushing forward. As a minority, know that we're no stranger to adversity, and that, it's a part of our lives. But it's either you're going to push forward, you're going to push past it and keep going, and, just be the most amazing brand ambassador, team leader that you can be that day, to hopefully change someone's opinion, or you can get out of the industry. So, I mean, that's it. You have to push past it. You have to keep going and do the best job that you could possibly do on site and let the work speak for itself.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is, especially having worked at another agency before starting my own with my wife, I saw that a lot at the former agency I was at. I was on emails with corporate brands that are very popular brands that if I copy those emails and post them on the internet, they'd probably be serious consequences around that, unfortunately. So firstly, I apologize to any ethnic backgrounds who felt that on site. It's a terrible thing. I can say when I was a team lead or as a brand ambassador, I was a manager, or even now as a site manager, as an agency owner, I've really tried to make it a point to be a champion for people of ethnic backgrounds. Like, that doesn't fly on site. Mike's worked with me on site before. I didn't have to cuss anyone out that day, so it's probably a good day. But if I see it on site, it doesn't fly with me, and that doesn't matter. I don't care if it's a client, if it's whoever. I used to get in a lot of trouble when I was at the corporate agency because I was that person that would call clients out like, nah, that's not going to fly with me. You're not going to talk to that person like that. I don't care, what brand you're with. It's not okay. To me, I think it's really a situation where if a person's a good person, they're a good person. It has nothing to do with race you are or what it is, but also echoing what Kaneika said, although I am a Caucasian male, like, I got passed up on a lot of stuff too, and found that once I started building up trust with clients, that was how I got up to where I made it to, with the relationships I have now. And I think that's the best advice I can give to anybody on the brand ambassador side, is just keep plugging away at it, keep working at it. And also remember the agencies that do treat you well. Stop working for the agencies that treat you like crap, guys, because we're all on the forums. We all see the brand ambassador agency forum where you're trashing agencies. Stop working for them then. It's pretty obvious who the not good agencies are. Just like it's obvious who's not the good brand ambassadors, and just build that trust up with clients. I can promise you, once you get to a level in this industry, it doesn't matter what race you are. It truly doesn't. Once you get to a certain spot, you push through it. You have that trust, and people call you and they trust you to do the work. And then you can bring your friends up, which is something I try to really do as well. Bring the good people along.
Yeah. Miles, you said something super important. You said once you get to that level, you said once they get to that level, it doesn't matter what race you are. But the important thing in what you said also is that before you get to that level, you should be aware that it sometimes does matter what race you are. So
it definitely does. Yeah.
It's unfortunate. nobody wants to say this cold hard truth, but Black people, you do have to act a little bit better. You do have to sound a little bit smarter. You do have to dress a little bit.
Unfortunately, you got to work 10 times as hard for the same credit in some cases. And that's a terrible, horrible thing to say, but it's
but we have to say it. We have to speak the truth, and we have to not sugarcoat it to make us feel comfortable. It's look, I knew this. I know it comes to the United States. I'm like, I got to do more. I have no choice. I even talked to my page the other day. I said, I left money on the table. When I started in this industry, simply because I was doing what I saw my white friends doing.
Yep.
Jess didn't brush her hair. She just came to work. She didn't brush her hair. She put it in a ponytail and whatever. So I thought I could come that same way. Absolutely not.
No, definitely not.
Jess and I are looking at the same.
And it's terrible. I mean, it's a grimy, disgusting industry. I'm sorry to say, we're all part of it. We all love it, but let's call it what it is. Marketing is a grimy industry. I mean, I worked in entertainment before this, and it's the same vein as entertainment. It's a lot of shallow stuff that goes on, a lot of racial stuff that goes on, and that's why I think it's so important for it to be honest out there and transparent. This is what it is. And now that you know that, you can choose whether you want to be in it or not, but know that we are trying to make changes behind the scenes and push through to get these new ideals out there. But that comes with everyone working together too. It can't just be one group doing that. It has to be everyone together doing it. Otherwise it doesn't work.
And hold the agencies accountable.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Hold them out. Call them out. If we do something to make you mad, call us out. Post a thing about whatever you want to do.
I'm not familiar with Kaneika and Miles' agency, but if I haven't heard anything bad about it, then that means this is
we try and do good by people.
You know what I mean? But people have to go that extra mile. And I'm only referencing Tinslee and the Grayscale agency because of the interaction that we've had. But I think agencies have to create a company culture even before they get to the clients. Sharing with the clients that, hey, just by the way, if you look at our portfolio, you will know just by looking at our portfolio that we are an agency that supports diversity. This is our company culture. Sometimes you don't have to actively say something. It's in the show, in the way you run your program, in the way you run your company. You don't have to say, I'm pro-Black. No, you want to show a portfolio that says, hey, for every white person, there's a Black person. For every white person, there's a Latino, and just keep it going.
I never worked for
a quality Latino candidate. I don't think it's about just providing an alternative. It's our responsibility as agency owners to make sure that our employees are making sure we provide a quality alternative. Otherwise, if we're just providing alternatives to try to get them to do something that they inherently don't want to do anyway, it's not going to work. And I think it's incredibly important that we as agency owners, every agency owner, we need to be training our clients. I can't tell you the last time a client was almost annoyed with one of our account managers because it's our job to give them too much information. It's our job to train them on, yes, your account manager or your on-site manager might be an African-American, but this is why they're in that position. Their amazing, glowing resume, the fact that they've been in the industry for 15, 10, 8 years. You have to train your client. If you train them beforehand to not even have any opposite thoughts about why this person is in charge, then they're not going to come back and say, well, they were amazing and they did everything that you said, but they really just want somebody different next time.
I've done this a couple times with clients that I felt like they were being a little bit too pushy on wanting a specific type. And I would send over candidates with all the qualifications. And I would really push, especially for some young Black women, I'd really push these and say, hey, this is the best girl for your team. I promise you this is it.
Because it's easier for us. They're the best workers most of the time, especially in our Vegas market. We don't have to worry about them waking up and going to work. We don't have to worry about them not showing up in uniform. We don't, not to interrupt you, but I want to make it very clear. We don't hire and place anybody based on the color of their skin. We hire and place people based on how well they do their job and how much of a pain in the neck they're going to be for our clients and for our account managers. It just so happens to be most of the time, especially in our larger markets, those are people that are minorities.
I've had to have that. I've had to have the tough conversation with the client and say, no, you did not request a specific person. This is the best person for your event. And if they don't want to choose that person, it's hard for me to want to continue a working relationship with them because now I don't trust that they trust me.
That's right.
And if I can't trust the client, then why are we even doing this? How do I know they're going to treat my staff with respect? We're all over the country. We can't be at every event. So if I can't trust my client with my choices and my decisions, why can I trust how they're going to treat my staff?
I think it's just training your clients. Every agency out there should be training their account managers to be training their clients, to be giving them all of the information, and to be making sure that any of our staff members that we provide for them, they have their resumes, they have their qualifications. It should never just be about filling 40 positions and then having the client have confidence that they'll show up. No, we should be providing and training our clients much, much better than what most agencies do.
I need to bring on Carmen and Jamar because they have a question that they want to ask. So let me bring them on really quick.
Hey guys, my name, y'all hear me?
Yep.
All right, my question is for pretty much Joe and at Grayscale. If you all don't want to look like, we're talking about accountability and things of that nature and trust and all of that. If you don't want to look a certain way, if you don't want to look like you're racist, if you don't want to look like you don't want to have people calling you or bashing you in Grayscale, if you don't want to do extra work to try to find the right person, but it seems like a lot of times it's the same people. So if you hire the same people, and I know you say it's not your fault, you pretty much it's up to the client to make the last decision. However, if you have the same type of events or activations or whatever running, what have you, how is it that, why don't you do a practice to where people know that, hey, if this client is looking for 4 Filipino girls or they're looking for some guys or tall guys or what may have you. Why is it so hard to do that or to implement that? So you're not being looked at by people that are constantly feel like, hey, I applied for this. She got on, but I'm not on. And you go to the activation and you see something totally different. And then they're like, well, man, well, they didn't. Well, how come they didn't say they were looking for this many people? You know what I mean? As far as like, so everyone's not constantly hitting you, and it's like you're not even looking for all these people.
That's why I think that's why we go into these markets where we don't have good, diverse crowds of people that are wanting to work for us, because we do need to fill in those spots with people of diversity. So I think that along the lines with us, I mean, it's up to us to train the client. Like I said, it's up to us to make sure before the client even has any brand ambassadors come on site, they already know what they're getting. They already know they have the best employees, and they've already been given full. I'm not talking about a couple lines about whether you speak Spanish or not and how long you've been in the industry. Our account managers take great care, and they provide paragraphs, almost full resumes to our clients. So that way we bullet point enough to where we know they're not going to read all of it, but we need them to know that these are not just the best people we have on our roster. These are the best people in the industry.
No, I'm saying, why don't you all, because what seems what's happening is, and for what Joe was talking about, I think a lot of people are applying like for certain positions, regardless if it's a black girl applies for a position and a skinny white girl gets it. Instead of having all these black girls apply for these positions, why not? Or I guess my question should be, why don't you solicit or say what specifically race or height or body type that you're looking for? What's so hard about that, or what's the great line, or why isn't that? What's the problem with that?
They'll look like they're racist.
It's not part of our business.
It wouldn't look like a racist.
It wouldn't look like it to you because it wouldn't look like it to you because you're reasonable. It would look like it to somebody who doesn't know this agency.
Those things are what Joe is getting the most flack about.
See, we're making everything too easy. We're trying to make everything too easy instead of just making things what they should be. If you know if you're a company and you're looking for a certain demographic and you're hiring all white girls, then evidently you're a racist. I mean, not you, but the company will be considered racist. If you're looking for a certain number of diverse girls with long hair, curly hair, diverse, however you want to classify it, why keep if you have this, if you have what you're looking for, why do you still let all these other people still apply for it?
Let me find the best people. At the end of the day, we always want to find the best people. We don't ever want to put ourselves in a situation that we don't want to discriminate against anyone, whether you're male, female, white, black, Hispanic, tall, short, fat. We don't want to give off any appearance that we're discriminating. So we do get a lot of people that apply that come from all backgrounds, and they all can do different things. They're all wonderful and specific assets.
Yeah.
We have to provide the best person for that job. Doesn't mean we can't look for good people to add to our team and let them know, hey, you didn't get selected this time. We love you though. Next time something comes up in your market, you're my first call.
Well, can I ask you a question though? This is a great question for me to ask you guys then, because I don't want to be wasting any of your times. But when we do have a client that's specifically asking for a certain look, like you're saying, let's say a client comes to us and they want certain height, certain hair, or a certain ethnicity. If we have somebody that we feel doesn't look like that, but they're better for the job, we don't have to worry about them showing up. We don't have to worry about them doing their job correctly. We still submit them. We still want to know who's available, because otherwise we're not doing our job and our due diligence and trying to change the industry for the better. So let me ask you, if we do have a client that is asking for certain things, if we feel like we can make a difference and get them better quality talent, but have to go against maybe what they originally considered what they want, do you still want us to go above and beyond in getting you guys submitted to that? Or do you feel like it's a waste of your time?
No, I feel you would definitely want to go above and beyond. I would definitely feel you should definitely go above and beyond.
Because we don't want to waste your time, and I understand what you're saying. I do understand that it would streamline it, but on the opposite, on the flip side, if we do that, we're not helping you any. We're only contributing to the decline of what the industry already is, and we aren't trying to change anybody's mind about how you should use them.
I disagree. Because for me, and I'm gonna be honest, as a 40-year-old black man that's been in the industry, and I moved up fairly fast as anybody that's been in this industry by myself. Okay, so for me, let's see. Let me see. How can I say it?
This is important for us.
This is great dialogue.
Oh,
So, I'll give you a perfect example. So let's say PlayStation is looking for an MC. Perfect example. PlayStation they're looking for 2 MCs. Hey, we're looking for we want a white guy, maybe about 6 foot. We want we'll take a African American guy, maybe 5 foot. Doesn't matter what they look like. We just take these 2 guys. I don't have a problem with if I'm a Mexican guy or I'm a Filipino guy and I'm an MC and I'm looking for MC gigs and I see, oh, dang, I'm like, oh, it ain't looking for a Filipino guy for whatever reason. I'm not going to get into the analytics or the reason why they're looking for that person. And I think too many times people are concerned with, oh, we're going to be looked at like this. No, I'm going to look at you like it's somebody that's coming in straightforward. If I can get your job, I'm going to apply for your job. I'm not going to waste my time applying for a job and you're not looking for me. I'm not. Can
I play devil's advocate real quick? And actually, I don't think I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm just telling you what's on my mind. I'm sorry. Can you remind me your name? I want to address you right. Jamar. Look, Jamar, you are saying what every Black person is thinking. Why are these agencies wasting our time? Like, why are they making us apply or giving us this false illusion of hope that we even have a chance in this application process when they know that we don't? 100%. You just said it. Everyone's already thinking it, right?
I know the answer. I don't even bother with anyone. I know the answer, but yeah.
But when, as an agency is concerned, there is a fine line between what we are calling direct representation or direct requests and what a large majority of people perceive as insensitive, discriminatory, and racist. There is a line there. And living in America, first of all, if you go to Europe, they tell you straight up what they're looking for. Blonde girl, 6 foot. This is America. This is America where there is such a racial divide, and
that's why we gotta start changing it. See, somebody such as you and myself that are conscious and cognizant of these conversations. We have to push this. We don't need to push it to the back and keep making it they're only doing it in Europe. Let's do it here. Let's do it here. What's the problem with that? Let's do it here.
I get it. Listen, you're not telling me anything I don't agree with. I agree with you 100%. I'm telling you that all I'm trying to say is that time is coming, I believe, in the near future. But that time isn't now. Right now, Why are we having a conversation for then? Why are we having a conversation if we're not moving forward? No, hang tight. I'm just saying that Iffy and Jamar aren't going to change people's perception of what is and what is not racist. When we do this conversation today, no matter who has heard this conversation, we will not have even moved the needle this much percent as to what people understand to be racist and not to be racist. So this is a conversation to open people's mind to the idea that, hey, simply because Miles and Kaneika are requesting a black somebody who fits a black profile for an Essence Festival campaign doesn't mean that they hate white people. It doesn't mean that they only hire black people. No, it means that their client today is hiring for Essence Festival, and guess what? White folks, you don't make the cut. Not this time. That's all it means. But you and I being on that same page doesn't mean that the rest of the world is on the same page. I dare Joe to do that. I dare him. He will be labeled a racist. He will be labeled every name in the book.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, you would. You can't easily put it out there that you want a certain race.
There's a whole lot about
that's illegal. It's illegal in America to do. You can't do that.
Jamal, let me just give you a perfect example of we have a lot of events that require male labor, and it's nothing against females labor, but there's certain aspects that need someone stronger, and we don't want to waste females' time by saying, hey, females can apply for this.
Just a minute. Who's this talking, Joe?
Yeah, this is Joe.
Hey, Joe, please, I want you to finish your thought because Carmen runs right into what you're going to say. So go ahead and finish that, please.
Yep. And so it's the client telling us that for safety reasons, some things are very heavy. They're requiring a male on site labor-wise, and we catch ultimate flack for this and saying, "Hey, why are you being sexist? And you're only having women can lift too." And absolutely, and I will tell you that sometimes when I was on the tour, that some of the females that came out earlier that helped me out were 10 times better than the males that were provided to help me out. 100%. But what you're saying is our clients only looking for males because they feel their safety or whatever reason they have. We are only males, and we're catching flack. And I just want to jump in one more thing about what you were saying earlier. I think a lot of people don't understand that staff may have worked with that client before in the past, and the client may have requested them to come back. And it has nothing to do with necessarily race or ethnicity or anything about that, but it's the client saying, "Hey, this person was great. If they're available, hire them again." And they do it of all races. And so we hear a lot of times, Atlanta's one market. I know Carmen's been on that, working for us in the past. We have such a big market in Atlanta. We can post something and within 10 minutes have 100 people apply that are all quality and staff that hire 100 people in 10 minutes with fantastic staff. And so we hear all the time from people saying, "Wow, you don't give anybody else a chance." But it's, in our defense,
I hear that.
If we have 100 great staff that we know are, like Tinslee said earlier, we know these people are not going to give us any problems. They're going to be on time. They're going to do a great job. Why would we go outside of those 100 people and hire the 101st person that has not done it? Now, granted, I will tell you one of the things that we definitely try and do over the last several years. The bigger the roster, the more we try and blend people in, because this is a very cyclical industry where some maybe only be in it for 6 months, they may be 1 or 2 years. But if we only did the same 10 people all the time, then we're 2 years down the line, we're going to run into the issues. So we definitely try, especially on bigger rosters, to blend people in there, and hopefully those people learn from the great staff that we have in that market, so they too can be the go-to person in that market and keep the cycle going. So. Go ahead, Carmen. I'm sure you got something for me.
We lost them.
I think they're frozen right now.
Okay.
I think go ahead, Evie.
If I could say something, look, there's something interesting that happens when I think you put Black people in positions of power and Black people in positions to make decisions. And I said this before on the call yesterday. I say this all the time, that I don't so much care about what white racists think, or what I wasn't born to change the white racist mind. That's the least of my worries. I'm more so worried with Black people. And when I say Black empowerment, I mean serious Black empowerment, not just like fist up, but like in every matter of the word: personal, mental, physical. I want Black people to win all the time. So when you put me in a position of power and I have decision-making power, I do that. I go look in the roster and I say, "Oh, this is so great. I know her. She's a strong Black woman. Let me go ahead and give her this job." And somebody would look in and think, "Oh, well, if he's racist because she prefers Black people." You're damn right, because they need that opportunity right now. And I'm in a position to give them an opportunity that maybe the other staffing agents may have overlooked. All I'm saying is, hold yourself accountable, hold the people around you accountable. It's all about group economics. That's how certain groups of people get richer. Certain groups of people buy more land. They share it all around. So now that we have a space in America where we can say what's on our minds, I'm here to say that if you have an opportunity as a Black staffing agent, or as a Black agency or Black-run agency to hire Black people, I'm not expecting white folks to take the lead on this. I'm expecting Black people to take the lead as it pertains to Black improvement.
Oh, absolutely. That's why whenever we have events where we staff, I always pick a rainbow of people. We're going to have Black, we're going to have Asian, we're going to have Latino, we're going to have men, women, of course, depending upon, what the clients want and what type of event we're having. But if there's an opportunity for me to provide that rainbow of people, oh, absolutely, you're going to have a rainbow there. And I know Mike can attest to that when he's worked events with us on site. We hire everybody. As long as you are a strong candidate and we know that you could do the job, then you're hired. We like to give people that we've never worked with opportunities, because at one point in time we were all brand new to this industry and we're looking for somebody to give us that first chance. So it just all depends on you know, obviously you want people that have worked with you in the past and you know that they're quality candidates. But if I could throw a few new people in that I haven't worked with before and they interview well and their resume looks good, come on, you know, let me give you a shot and let's see how you do.
Yeah, we also put pressure on our vendors when we have staffing partner vendors. We put pressure on them to also send us a diverse team. So, you know, we do a lot of automotive stuff. So we work with obviously product specialists, which, you know, there's a few vendors out there that provide such staff. And we put pressure on them. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we want. This is our list of people. And, you know, they're people from every different race and culture. And, you know, obviously we want the best of the best, but you're going to give us a diverse group. And, you know, echoing what Kaneika said again, like, until you give someone a shot, they don't have that shot, right? You're not going to know what you don't know until you know it. And also, too, though, on the flip side of that, and this is playing a little bit of the devil's advocate, you know, a staff member that's amazing for Assist or for the Grayscale agency might not be amazing for us. And that has nothing to do with race. That's just the reality of this industry, guys. Like,
sure,
we all know there's that one person that's like, this person's amazing. And then for whatever reason that day they have a bad day, you know, and you know, that goes with the trust thing, right? Like, you know, you got to build up that trust. I mean, you know, that's really the key in this industry, I think, is trust.
Well, and certain people work primarily with one or two agencies.
Yep.
And it has nothing to do with other agencies not hiring you, but
at all.
If, you know, we have certain staff that we know when we go to New Orleans, these are the 5 people that do work for us all the time. Miami, same thing. Yep. We're going to call them immediately and say, hey, are you available? Because we know 100% of the time they're going to do a great job. They may not do a great job on other clients. And the other agency may fire them. And, you know, I'm in a bunch of groups with, you know, other agency owners and stuff, and we chat about people. And sometimes people come up in there and I'm like, oh, wow, they work for us all the time and they're fantastic, you know, and they're like, oh, man, they didn't do a very good job for us. It's like, well, it sucks.
All the time.
It wouldn't necessarily stop us from hiring that person again.
Sure.
As long as, you know, the next time they work for us, they're not doing what that other person said that they were doing.
Because they've earned your guys' trust. I mean, that's, you know, and that's the other thing that I think goes with the staffing side of it is understanding, you know, as a brand ambassador, understanding that account executives are staffing sometimes 10, 15 events at a time with anywhere from 5 staff to 100 staff members. You know, you're doing something like Comic-Con, for example, where you're staffing 3 different activations. You know, you want the people you can trust. And, you know, hopefully it's a racially diverse trust there. You know, that's what we can all hope for. But, you know, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. And it really boils down to the staff members that have built trust up with you, you know, when you're going to staff these large scale activations and events.
Yeah, and when we have 4 or 5 clients at the same event, we try and even out the teams.
Sure,
both racially, both strengths, both people. You know, having a bilingual person on each team is great. You know, all the different things so that each team can be just as strong as the next, and not have a client say, "Wow, look at that team. That team is really good. This team, you know, maybe not." So we try and you know, make sure that everything's even as best as possible at all of our events, so that, you know, our clients are all happy.
Another word of advice to brand ambassadors, I think, too, is really try and build relationships with the agencies. Like, you know, one thing that Kaneika and I did, and, you know, was just really go, for me, I was based in Southern California, so I'd go to all the kind of California agencies at the time and try and knock on their door when I was in LA doing an activation, or, you know, and get to know the account executives, even if they might not be there next month, but, you know, start building up that rapport. That's another great way to be on the short list of who they're going to call next, is if they know, okay, I can put a face to the name. I've seen this person. I work with them, you know, multiple times. Like, that's another great way to just get yourself out there with people and break the race lines and the color lines again, you know.
It's called relationship currency. A lot of people don't know what that is, but sometimes it's the most powerful type of money to make. The one
definitely in this industry.
Yeah.
And just to piggyback on what Miles said, you know, pick up the phone and call these people at these agencies and say, hey, you know, I've applied a bunch of times. What can I do to be better? And we'll go through your profiles and we'll go through your pictures and give you some advice, because some of them, you know, the Instagram filters is the funniest one to me. They'll send 7 pictures with Instagram filters why they're not getting hired. And you're like, well, I can't submit that to a client. You know, we're trying to be professional here, you know, and we do video interviews with everyone that ever works for our company. And when you show up 20 minutes late literally driving and say, oh, well, I can multitask. No, you can't. This interview's over at this point, you know? And so there's just ways of being professional. And if you're not getting an opportunity with an agency, I can tell you right now, I have people call me all the time. I have people request to chat with me about different topics. You know, a lot of these agencies have no problem with that. Yes, there are times, especially in the summertime or start of college football, where it's a little bit hectic to be able to, you know, get to sit here and video chat with everyone. But you know, we want to have a building rapport with all of our field staff. And we want you to feel that you're a part of our agency and not just someone that, hey, you're filling in for one day to make $80 or $100 or whatever else. We want you to feel like, hey, this is my home, this is my job, and I'm going to do a great job, because the harder you work for us, the harder we'll work for you to get you back on our events, get you paid faster. You know, all those different things that, you know, it's a mutual respect thing, that we want to respect our field staff, and we want them to respect our time too, and respect us as well. But, you know, if you're feeling that you're not getting an opportunity, pick up the phone and call them. I all the time I'll jump on with people and say, all right, what's going on? What can I help you with? And try and get to the bottom of what's going on.
And that was going to lead into my next question. How do you, or what would you tell an EXP who feels like they may have been discriminated on site, whether it was the client who came on site and may have said something, or another EXP, or even dealing with consumers? How would you tell that EXP to address that issue with you as the agency?
I literally just had this a few months ago happen to us, where we were accused of being racist online. And I immediately jumped on and said, hey, I would love to talk to you one-on-one. I have no problem answering all your questions. And they refused to talk to me. And nope, I don't want to talk to you. So you're
a racist. So
and that's unfortunate, because we weren't. I mean, the employee was let go because they didn't do a good job. And all of a sudden it became, well, no, they're just saying that we were racist. And I'm like, you worked with me like 5 years ago, but yeah, I would still sit down with you and have this conversation and explain to you why we don't use you and why we haven't chosen you. And because maybe at that moment he can change my mind. So I wanted to give him that opportunity to change my mind and give you a second opportunity. So if we ask you to communicate with us, please do, because we don't know you guys as well as you know yourselves, or as well as other people maybe know you. So give me an opportunity, and give us an opportunity, give every one of these agencies who ask you to communicate with them an opportunity for you to have a civilized conversation, because you can learn so much about somebody. I'm completely different now than I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. What doesn't mean you can't change either. So just if I ask you to talk to me, you know?
I had an instance where I was working an event for the United States Air Force, and the guys that were managing the event were two German brothers. And then we had another Russian girl that was on site working the event. And I would come early. I would stay, like, after the activation ends, I would even stay later just to help them out without getting paid.
Overachiever, Mike.
And the thing is, when I checked my account on the application, it said that they only gave me a 2-star rating, while they gave her a 5-star rating when she did the least work out of everybody. So so immediately when I saw that, I wanted to know, like, the reason why that I got a 2-star rating. So I called the agency right away, and they were just telling me, like, oh, well, the clients, they didn't specifically tell us why, but they have the power to, like, give you a rating. And I told her, like, I came early, I stayed extra late, I helped them out, but I still got that. But the booking agent tells me that they understand that they understand me because I've worked for them for, like, a long time. So whenever you have situations like that, I think you should always contact your booking agent or the agency, like, right away, and tell them and explain to them. Sometimes they'll misunderstand, but it's good to catch it early. And the easy tip for you to get into agencies is, like, try to do as much backup work as possible, because a lot of agencies do not know who you are. They don't know, like, you're a brand new face to them, so they don't have that kind of trust with you. I've actually applied to assist 2 years ago, and my resume was good, but you guys offered me a backup position. However, I didn't take it because I had other positions that were offering like better choices at that time. And but I know you guys aren't doing it because you're discriminatory towards me, because I have friends who worked with you guys for years, and you guys chose them because you guys will have worked with them for a while. So I understand that.
Yeah,
can you say something about assist marketing?
Yeah, assist marketing.
I'm going to talk from the brand ambassador side because I've been in here for years. I know the brand ambassadors. Most of you guys are agency owners, so you're out of the gist, okay? Like you're on the next level now, but we're still amongst the gist, so we still hear the chatter. Assist marketing are kind of like the popular kids at school. You can't sit with us. Like that's kind of how you come across, right? That's just the thing. That's the gist on all around town. It's like, ugh, you can't sit with us, but like all the other agencies want to give people a chance. Okay, if you want to work with us, you can work with us, but you got to work with us as a backup. Like, that's the way it comes across. Somebody that is realistic, that understands that you're running a business, not a charity, will understand why you have that mentality, will understand literally just how much attention to detail and perfection and fine-tuning your staffing increases your next year's revenue. Like everything is connected. So yeah, at the end of the day, nobody likes the popular kids who make it seem like you can't sit with them. That's it. If you want people to like you more, if this is what you're in for people to like you, then you need to change that up a little bit. You need to start openly giving people more opportunity and telling people, hey, we're welcoming. We want new people. But at the end of the day, realistically, for brand ambassadors, for my friends, for my colleagues, this is the real world. This is a business. This is not a charity. Nobody is just handing you jobs. BA work is the easiest work, one of the easiest work that you will ever do, getting paid the highest amount of money. If you want to work hard, you need to go to like Walmart or like McDonald's. Those people are working for their money. In the BA industry, we're playing around and getting paid most times. Yeah. Right? Sometimes agencies take advantage of it, but most times we're being paid to party. We're being paid to look at Mike. He doesn't look like he's working a day in his life. Look how handsome he is. Look at him. His skin is so flawless. You see that he's in a good industry. He's in an industry where he's not overexerting himself for this work. So I think if I can give a recommendation to brand ambassadors, is play the long game. At the end of the day, I tell people this all the time. If you want to be a BA for the rest of your life, then yeah, maybe you should be focusing on the culture here and trying to like figure out like how to stay put. But everyone should have an exit strategy at some point. These guys had exit strategies. They did BA work and then they went ahead and opened up their own agencies because that's what's called next level. So everyone should be thinking next level, except if you want to do this for the rest of your life. If you do, then we can have a different conversation. I can give you all the tips to get up there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I feel like if BAs want to have a steady income, they should diversify themselves, like do side jobs, invest in stocks, do different things. And if you want more work in BA community, you should sign up with as many agencies as you can, unless you have established a really good relationship with a certain amounts of agencies that you feel comfortable working with. If not, I do think you should build a relationship by, applying as a backup position. And once you start entering into the job market with them, they'll understand you better, and then they'll start booking you more or sending you as a recommendation to their clients more.
Humble yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, great point. And I would just say that Atlanta's a perfect example where we'll post something and we'll have 300 applicants within the first day, and we only need 5 people. So how are you going to get to all 300 applicants to offer them the job? I tell this, I do this scenario with people where I'm like, well, that would mean you would work for us one time today, and you'll work for us again in 2022 when the next event to get to all 300 people comes up. And so, obviously we want the best. Our clients want the best. They come to us because they want the best, and I'm sure every agency says that their clients are calling them because they do a good job, plain and simple. And so we want to continue to develop that. But like I said, we try and mix in people, especially on bigger rosters. And hopefully we get a new group of great staff. Mike, unfortunately, being in Southern California, there's thousands of applicants on every single gig. And as much as we catch a lot of flack for telling people to apply for backup roles, it is needed in a lot of cases. But I will tell you that there's a lot of great stories that people applied for the backup, and they were probably even kept that day because something happened, someone was late, traffic, whatever it was, and they did a great job. Our client recommended them, our team leads recommended them, and they were now, the next person that was one of the first ones called the next event. And so, I will say, obviously, we were talking about Mike brought up where he got a bad rating from one of his events. That's what we try and ask other BAs. We send them a follow-up after every event and say, hey, thank you very much for your helping us out on this event. How'd the event go? We want to hear from everyone. We don't want to just hear from the team lead saying, hey, these were the 5 good people, these were the 2 bad people, or the clients that are saying, hey, here's the so and so people. We want to hear from everyone because everyone's got an input on how the event went. And if we hear, it's one of those when you see one finger pointing forward, you have 4 pointing back at you. And this kind of the way we look at it is, one bad review doesn't necessarily ruin your chances because 4 other people may have said, hey, Mike was absolutely fantastic. He was here early, helping us set up and tear down, did a great job. And that's what we try and get is as much feedback as possible so that we can really develop your character. And so when we know we come back to town, if we need someone like that, that's going to be the first one that we're calling.
Yeah, and I would say for brand ambassadors that are trying to figure out how to get more work, or they feel like they're not getting the positions that they should. When I first started out in the industry, I had no idea that this was an industry that even existed. I was on Craigslist randomly just looking for some work. I had just moved here to Vegas and was trying to find jobs and little odds and ends until I landed something permanent. And I stumbled across experiential marketing, and my first event that I ever did was for Magic, and the rest was history after that. But I definitely applied for a lot of backup positions when I first started, and even though a lot of those jobs I showed up as a backup and got my little $20 and went home because they didn't need me that day, I built up trust with that agency because they knew that I was going to show up early and that I was going to be there. And so eventually it got my foot in the door that as somebody that they could trust to at the very least show up on time, and I was able to get into a position for the entire shift or for a few days or what have you. I see one of the questions that someone posted was that, for people that aren't bilingual and they feel like they're getting discriminated against because they don't have those skills, there are tons of apps available. There's free courses that you can take. You can get on, YouTube and learn those extra skills. Just because you're not putting forth the effort to get those extra skills, then you're not going to get the results that you want. A lot of times, especially in Southern California, there's a very, very diverse communities, and depending upon where we staff events and what neighborhoods sometimes, then we have to make sure that we have people that speak Spanish, or they speak Tagalog, or they speak Japanese, so that the consumers that are coming to these events, they have someone that they can speak to if English isn't their first language or they're not comfortable with that. So, and also I would tell EXPs is if you're not comfortable reaching out to the agency owners and finding out what you're not doing right, or maybe it's your pictures or your resume or whatever, talk to your friends. Like, this is the easiest industry where you can, find a buddy to, hey, I feel like I'm not getting enough jobs. I feel like I'm not getting enough gigs. What pictures do you send for your job applications? Can I see your resume, or can you look at my resume and tell me if I could, how to change this, how to fix this? Ask for help. That's the easiest thing to do. And there was this, one of my first few events that I ever worked at, I came across a wonderful brand ambassador, and I was telling her, hey, I'm not really getting any gigs. I think I was only signed up for like 2 agencies at the time. And she was like, do you have a list? And I was like, a list of what? And she was all, staffing agencies. And she was all, so, when I would feel frustrated because I spent the day turning in my resume and sending in my pictures and all that, and I wasn't getting hired for anything, then I would go back to that list and I would just spend the day turning it, filling out the application and putting in my resume and my photos and, registering with all these different staffing agencies. And eventually, I never made it through the entire list because there was enough, I applied to enough agencies that eventually I got enough shifts being offered to me or enough backup gigs offered to me that I was able to build up, a reputation for myself, and I was able to get enough work to where I didn't even need to finish going through the list. So, there's always options available. You just have to, be a little bit more proactive about it.
If you want to earn more, you have to learn more. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Absolutely.
That's true. Yes.
All right, Carmen, we're going to let you have the floor. Go ahead.
Actually, I'm just kind of coming in on it, and I'm like, so what was the question? Because I don't like talking out of context.
No, you were with Jamar. You were going to say something, and then I think you guys know service. So I guess you could just touch on that. So you've been hearing where you are, what you've been hearing and how you feel about that.
First of all, I want to say, even though we've been in and out kind of with our signal and everything, and I haven't been able to say too much, it's really been refreshing to hear the dialogue. I appreciate everyone on the panel, everyone that's viewing for being open. This is not a comfortable subject. What I was going to say after Jamar was, I'm somebody, as far as solutions are concerned, realize when certain things are missing and are lacking. So I actually had a question for the agencies that are here, and that's more so from the standpoint of me having been in the office myself. I worked in the office, like I told you all, as an account manager and a staffing manager. One of the things that I did see at the agencies I worked at was there was a department solely dedicated to Latino events and affairs and things of that nature. And there was even one where we had an Asian focused department as well. However, none of those things were available for the African American market. We all know the numbers. We can go online and see how much money that the African American community is spending annually on a whole. So we can't say that there isn't a demographic for us. We can't say that there, aren't events there that need to be had. But then the question becomes, and I've asked this before as well as a tour manager, just at an office seeing absolutely no diversity at all. Do you go out and search diverse brands? Everyone has a sales, from my understanding. You have sales. I mean, you got to go out and you got to get the clients, right? Mm-hmm. So do you all foresee, is it in the plan for you all to have that, to where you are focusing and you're going out and you're looking for those brands that are focusing on the African American community? Or is it something that you're just like, I never really thought about that? Where are you all kind of in with that type of sector of things?
Sure. So I could, speaking for us, Incursion Marketing, I have been working with the African American community on the event side for pretty much my entire professional career. So I work with a nonprofit in San Diego right now for the past 5 years, helping them put together community events, consulting on them, and bringing a lot of the expertise I've obviously learned in the experiential marketing field. We're what you would consider an ultra boutique agency. So we don't have departments dedicated to particular cultures or races. I think I do know what you're talking about, because I've worked with, and I've been in the offices of the extremely large experiential agencies. And one of our major clients is probably one of the biggest ad agencies in the world. The interesting thing I think that is going on is, and it started with Sprite back in the 90s, right? Where it was this kind of push to do marketing to the urban communities and, breaking into, and then McDonald's followed, and, these different companies. And then you had companies like Steve Stout's company, Translation, that obviously started breaking those barriers down. But from an experiential standpoint, I don't think that it's so much of us having a department as much as us committing to working within those communities that we're going to be in anyways, and not just going in and out of them and, collecting money basically. So, for quite a while, I did a lot of work with Boost Mobile. That was kind of how I cut my teeth as a brand ambassador, and then moved to the corporate marketing agency side, was being a field manager for Boost Mobile. So a lot of our demographic in Southern California was the Latin American market. So what I learned with Boost is they would go in, and it wasn't just so much of them street teaming and, whatever, getting in and out. We would actually support the community events, support the stuff, really get engaged with it. And that's certainly something I can say that Kaneika and I are working on and have worked on in the past, is trying to work with, African-American entrepreneurs and, business owners, and, showing them kind of this other side of things. Earlier in the conversation, I said my former career was entertainment, and that was in hip hop. I was in independent hip hop business for 10 years as a marketing person and management. And that was something I tried to do too, was just always be kind of that bridge between this is kind of what we got going on and how we can start bringing in the corporate sponsorships and the corporate money. but be authentic, you know. And I think that's the biggest thing right now is a lot of agencies, again, it's not so much that they're ignoring it, it's just I think they don't know what they don't know until you have like a situation like I think it was Gucci, right, where, you know, these corporate brands do some racist stuff, then they hire like an expert consultant at the last minute, you know. And so it's like, if we can nip that in the bud early and, you know, support it more and support these community events and stuff, that's how we can bridge that gap a lot better.
And I wanted to hear that same from Grayscale and Assist as well.
Sure.
Yeah, I think for us, we recognized just right off the bat that we found it easier, like we were talking about earlier, to continuously place our team leads as rehires. It's not fun for us or anybody to have to rehire a team lead in a situation if they've already worked in the understand the program and they have a relationship with that client. So we worked very hard, like we said, in making sure to change our business model. And the reason why we changed our business model, the very first year that I was open, I was running pretty much everything by myself. We had 2 people in the office that kind of helped us with booking, but that was about it. One of the women that we had working for us, she was gorgeous. She's a pageant girl. She's won multiple pageants. She's a beautiful girl. She speaks Spanish and English complete fluently. She shows up hour before at the Las Vegas Convention Center, if that tells you anything, just because she sees the value in that. She's literally our dream employee. And I was having a very hard time getting her hired because she was Spanish and she was an African American. And I feel like it was that point where we were having just a candid conversation and she wasn't crying, but I could tell she was down. Her energy level wasn't as high as it usually is. And she told me, she said, "Hey, I really appreciate you." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because you try to get girls like me hired." And it broke my heart. Like I've never experienced anything like that. I've never heard anything like that. And to have somebody that's so important to our team thank me for something that should just, she was a wonderful employee. I said our main goal is to try to keep that business model. That's what I was telling you guys earlier. It was so important to us to change the way that we did things. And the only way that we knew as 2 Caucasian privileged people to do that was to tell our clients what to do and remind them that they've hired us for a reason. And like we were saying, it hasn't worked with every client, but we're down to less than 6% of our clients now that still want to have a big say in what they do. That's the first thing we did. Secondly, it hasn't always worked, but we've made a pledge where any team over 40 people, where they're working with one client, 40 people or more, we try to always have a team lead and a second team lead that we pay out of our pocket, even if the client doesn't pay for it. And we try to make both of those people minorities for 2 reasons. It's our effort to try to change the client's mind and to try to get more people that are diverse out there in those positions. And second of all, if we have 40 people on a team, there's an absolute chance that there's more minorities on that team than there are going to be Caucasians. And we want to make sure that those people are comfortable because we're always going to be comfortable no matter where we go. And I want to make sure that we have a team where everybody's comfortable, the client is comfortable, but more importantly, I can't take any more of our personal staff members coming to us and saying things like that because I don't know how to emotionally process that. So the best thing I can do and the only thing I know how to do is change it from what we do. And that's why we're so, you know, I'm passionate and I say things on social media that I probably shouldn't. And I do things when it comes to supporting the people on our team that we feel need the support more than others, but that's important to our team. And we have 311 people that look up to us. And if we're not making these decisions, if we're not actively trying to make them feel comfortable, then nobody's going to do it for them. And I implore more agency owners out there to do what the 3 of us have done and make that a priority for them. You're going to lose out on money. You're going to lose out on some clients, but does it really matter? Because it shouldn't. And I think that the more you guys as a group make sure this is a horrible time right now. But the one thing I'm taking away from it is on social media, I'm learning about the people I will never align myself with ever again in my life. Watch those people, brand ambassadors, see those people, find those people that aren't minorities, find your Caucasian friends and explain to them how you feel and tell them, you need to help me with this. And you need to get your friends that aren't minorities on board to only work with the agencies that are going to treat you guys with respect and that are going to help further a dialogue where you guys are able to feel comfortable and have more employment. So it's so important for you guys. Please, like I've said this before, just like Joe said, we all talk about how you shouldn't work for the horrible agencies that don't pay you. Miles said the same thing. Don't work for them if they create a culture of racism, and it's as simple as that. I don't have the tools to help you guys with that. You guys have to do that yourselves.
Yeah.
I wanted to also add there that with just kind of that, I don't want to say the word is not so much as focus. Solution wise, for me, I do believe that it will benefit this industry for there to be an African American agency, more than one of them, because you know we haven't gotten all the clients, right? We haven't got all the clients. We haven't found all the clients. So there's plenty of work out there. Being able to have an organization, and we're speaking from a standpoint of you want to have people in the office who also understands the experience from beginning to end. Being in this industry for as long as I have, definitely have witnessed and been a part of a lot of racism, a lot of discrimination. I've even caught an agency red-handed saying to me, oh, you know, you were great. You know, this is round 4 of interviews for me. This is another thing that's also really big. You know, you're going through about 3, 4, 5 rounds of interviews, you know, only to be told they're still going with someone else. And those type of experiences, I started getting to a point where I started asking account managers directly, hey, you said you love me. We've got on with the account executive. They love me. We've got on with this big wig and they love me. And I've had everything that they're looking for. They say I have everything they're looking for. And then we get back to it and you still go with the other person. I just start asking like, hey, was this because I do not have the look? Is it because of my ethnicity? Is it because, and it catches a lot of account managers off guard because that's not a question that we ask. We typically go, oh, they're just not going to pick me, and then we complain and we go to the left. Whereas for me and several other of us in this industry that I've had conversations with, we're going to come to your door with it. Like, hey, because we're then going further into the wasting time thing, right? So you're saying you need a certain whatever, you're looking for a certain whatever, and then I apply, and then you're getting me to the Golden Gates, right? And then you're turning me around only to call me to the Golden Gates later. So that's something that people in our industry also face. African American people in our industry face. We'll apply. We'll do the interview well. We'll have the resume there. I was told coming into this industry, you have a solid resume, you're good. And that's not necessarily for African people. Like, we have to work a lot of times twice as hard. And especially being an African American female, like earlier they were talking about needing male labor and everything like that. I outlive some of the best of them. You know what I mean? I set up stage, baby. I drive trucks. I'm saying for my CDL, like I'm a lady, but I'm a tough lady. But we're a lot of times, if we're not open as account managers, and I'm saying we only because I've been on that side as well, if we're not open to really getting to know, and let me back up, the boutique agencies, that's easier to do. The agencies where your number 7,56667, absolutely extremely hard to do. And so my tip to that side note to BAs is to also look at the size of the company. If you're wanting companies to build more of a relationship with, it's like investing. Do a mixture of boutique agencies and large agencies. Therefore, you're in those spaces where you're making those relationships, but then you're also like, okay, I know I got my bigger companies that, you know, they'll rock with me here and there. But what tends to be the harder part of it is we don't want to be honest about who is working in these positions of hiring. The education, I think Grayscale said it earlier, educating people. I guess if you say you want to be an ally, right? We've been seeing this word a lot on social media. I'm an ally. I want allyship and all this other stuff. One of the first things that has to happen in this industry, we have to realize that this is a marathon, right? You can reference Nipsey Hussle as he spoke about that, but that's exactly what it means. This change that we're looking for is not going to happen tomorrow. We may not even see it happen within the next year. However, everyone who says they want to be an ally, who wants change, first has to be willing to look at the situation and look at our current climate and say, this is really messed up. what we're going through, this is a bad thing. This is not good. Our system is flawed. Right. So we all go through systems, like I was telling the agency owners earlier. You got the judicial system, you got the educational system, you got financial systems, all of which have been flawed in a way that doesn't lean or give an equal opportunity to African Americans. So in this industry, if we want to be allies, or we want to show that we're working together, first we got to be honest with ourselves. We have to check ourselves. Caucasian people, Asian people, Latino people, check your people. Because a lot of you all have friends that'll say certain things that are racist, that are discriminatory, and y'all will laugh about it because none of us are around. You are being complicit with that. You are continuing to participate in that. So if we don't want that same energy on our footprints when we come in, we want to be able to say, hey, we're not going to click up over here. Because like, I'm talking to my field people now. I know I can't see y'all, but y'all can see me. We've all come onto a footprint, and you have the Black people over here, and you got the white people over here. And then we looking crazy at each other all day until we get assigned to where we need to be. And then maybe some drama will pop off, maybe some drama won't. But we get in these situations and there's no one being accountable with one another. Lastly, how to make this happen overall, because we've talked about just morals, ethics. How do we check this? I suggest an association. This is something that I suggested several years ago when myself and several of the people in the Atlanta market created the mixer. We created this mixer, and Assist has shown up and supported it. We appreciate Joe and the team coming through to several of our events that we're holding monthly. But we were starting to put together an association because there are no checks and balances in this industry. It's still new. You know, people are like, oh, it's been around since the 50s. Yeah, that's still new in comparison to, say, other industries, right? So we have to, in our industry, finally set some rules, finally set some boundaries. If we want to protect the people, let's really do that. Let's put together an association that says, okay, brand ambassadors, if you want to continue to work in this association with this seal of approval, here's what you have to do. You got to go through recertifications. Make sure you understand etiquette on site. Make sure you understand etiquette when speaking with account managers, being on time, things of that nature, just like you would recertify for any other thing. And then vice versa. On the other side, that type of organization, if agencies want to come and be a part of and say, hey, we want to use these rock stars, right? Because we complain about who's trashed and who's great. These rock stars now have the seal of approval. And if you go against, or if you do anything to wrong according to the association's guidelines and rules, then you have to be accountable. As the association, we can hold the agencies accountable, and vice versa. If you all are dealing with a BA, theft, anything like that, they no longer can be in this association. So for me, I'm all about us attacking the problem, but then let's look at a few things that can be seen as the solution. And I don't think an association is a bad idea, but that's just me. And Jay, you're more than welcome to put me in the background if you like.
Carmen, first off, good seeing you. It's been a while, but you had some good points there. And there is an association that's trying to start up that has those feelings behind it. The AAEP is one of the American Association of Professionals. They want to do all those things, and so we're supporting the group. I know Teach and Matthew I've had long conversations with them before we decided to endorse them. Because they do want that. They do want to get to where this industry has accountability, and they people have to live up to certain standards. Because we all want that. We all want that in the industry, whether it's agencies, whether it's field staff, whether it's whatever. We want this industry to thrive because the clients, showing them that how well their events are doing on site, they're going to do more events. They're going to be putting more of their dollars to the actual experiential agencies versus their digital and their TV commercials and stuff like that. So we want the best events possible, and we want to get all the bad apples out of there. So we definitely are all in favor of this other association, whether it's the AAEP or another association that has those same kind of goals. The AAEP has come out and said that that's what they're trying to strive for. We are a company that backs them as far as mission. Email blast everyone in the industry that works for us, saying here's a great group to look into. But we're open. If you guys come up with a better group, I know our agency and a lot of other agencies are coming to the table, and for that,
or it's just me.
yeah, I think Carmen, maybe you have to mute yours because I think you're on the road, and maybe that's you.
I think it's your sound, Carmen.
Maybe my air. I have the air on. Sorry,
I don't,
back there. Is that better?
I think because y'all moving, it's a lot of.
Oh, okay, a lot of movement. Okay, yeah, we're about to pull over. Sorry about that. That's why I said you can background me, like, fade me out to black.
but yeah, we're agencies are all in favor of that as long as there's a group that's going to allow the agencies to have a voice as well as the field staff, because we are all trying to get to the same goal, is to get the people that don't belong in this industry, whether it's agencies or field staff, out of it and give more opportunities and give more chances to learn. And the AEP, one of their things they're trying to do is to give people tools and tips onto how to become a better VA, how to do certain things, and if we can get that, the whole industry is going to rise. We can all rise together.
Question, Joe. I'm sorry. I'm hearing about this agency, and I heard about this AAEP by the sidelines. Are there people of color in that leadership group that's called the AAEP?
I do not know their ethnicity, perchance, but
I suggest that if you are endorsing that group, I suggest that they really look into making sure that their leadership team is diverse, because that's the root of most of the problem we talk about here, diversity. So I love the idea. I think the idea is brilliant, but I think that every idea moving forward should have a clause of that relates to diversity inside the core of the idea. Because if not, it's null and void as it pertains to Black people and to people who feel like they're minorities. So that's where they should start, because that's the real problem that this whole conversation is about. And not just us having a conversation, the whole America, the whole world is having this conversation. So I think the idea is great, but if it doesn't start with the idea of diversity, and by diversity, I don't mean white people endorsing diversity. We love you, Tinslee, but we need to be a part of it. So I think if that is not there, they should take this from me as a spokesperson for my Black people. Bring Black people in, and then Black people will support it.
Yeah, and if you, like I said, we're all in favor of groups that are going to be working together, and if you can let me know of one that's going to be very diverse, we'd love to join it, and we'd love to endorse it and send it out to our, we have over 50,000 people in our database. We'd love to let them know about this kind of stuff. So we're definitely open to opportunities that have more voices at the table.
No, let me be clear. Sorry, I don't think I was very clear. I hear everything that you're saying, and I 100% agree that if we have more associations run by Black people, then that's amazing. I'm saying specifically when it comes to endorsing an organization that is coming to be a representation of an industry that has Black, Latinos, white people, I think that we need to be very specific about where we put our endorsements and be very specific about who we give the thumbs up. And at the core of these organizations, if, I keep saying this about Black people, we need to be very guarded with the Black dollar. The reason why they don't want to spend, they don't have a Black, agency community or whatever that focuses just on Black people problems and stuff, is because they don't have to, marketing agencies and companies don't have to work very hard for the Black dollar. We just give it to them. We just need Kanye West to wear it one time and it'll sell out. We'll leave our mama and go run and get that shoe, right? So what I'm saying is, as I am somebody who will not give you my endorsement unless I have a feeling that some part of me is in that product or is in that company or, has that type of leadership. So I'm cool with AAEP and all the rest, but I don't need white people teaching Black people about things. I think we need more white people who say, hey, guess what? It would make sense if we want to represent a union that has Black, Latinos, Asians, whites. It would make sense that at the core of our organization, we implement diversity as a pillar of the foundation. So I think that's what I mean when I say that. And I think that if more companies start to do that, then I think Black people will start to appreciate the efforts.
And
I get what you're saying, 100%, Iffy, and like I said, I'm all for it. If you can come up with, if we can have an organization out there that comes to us and says, "Hey, we're coming with this background," we'd love to endorse it. We'd love to help spread your word. Obviously, as a white male, I can't go and say, "Hey, this is our diverse group that we're going to create," because that's not my job. I can do that as my company goes, absolutely, but I can't do that as a something that's run by independent, it's not including all companies. I can't do that as a white male, but I'd love to have this come forward to us so that we can help spread the word.
And just to, Iffy, you brought up a great point, and Carmen, you did as well. But just to piggy off of what you said, Iffy, not only having people that look like the EXPs in the field, but people in those positions that have the experience. Because oftentimes we see, okay, how can you tell me how to be a manager or how to be a product specialist if you've never worked in that position?
Right.
So it's extremely hard for people, just like we have to guard, our Black dollar. People could become guarded with who they put their trust in or who they want to listen to, because you may not have the same experience or you may not come with the same credentials that someone else who has been in the industry for 5, 10 plus years, who has worked in every position, and who can speak to every position and how to handle certain situations. So it requires not only the diversity, but someone or an agency that has a collective group of people with different experiences at every level. So I just wanted to add that in as well. But let me bring Carmen back in to see if she had anything else, and I'm gonna go off really quick.
No, y'all hit it. Iffy, am I saying it right, Iffy?
Iffy, yeah. Or Ifeanyi Chukwu.
Yes, whole pronunciation. Yes, no, you hit a lot on the head, and really just to piggyback off of that, we just want to make sure that we're doing the work. And again, I know it's hard. I know we want to kind of shun away from this because it's uncomfortable. But I'm glad to know that there are, Joe and Grayscale, as well as Mike and Tanika. Am I right? Or Tanika?
Tanika.
Okay. Sorry about that. Willing to be a part of the association. I'm in full agreement with representation in the association. Iffy, I mean, you really hit it on the head. As long as everybody's willing. Again, I don't want to keep talking. I'm a roll up my sleeves type of lady. Like, let's do this. If we're going to start an association where we have those pillars and that diversification is there, as well as that honesty and being able to keep everyone accountable, the marathon doesn't have to take 500 years. You know what I'm saying? It really can be one in which a lot of ground is covered in a matter of 1 year. So as long as everybody consistently, right? Because we can have these conversations, we can put up the black squares and I'm solidarity and all that other stuff. But then next week, if you go back to your regularly scheduled programming, none of that really matters. So we just need a commitment from the agency side. We need a commitment from our field professionals as well, for everybody to come together and let's go ahead and make this thing rock, because this industry is bomb and everybody is in this industry because they know it's bomb. Not that the work is just easy, but because you could be doing worse for less. I came into this industry smooth off of getting $7.75 slicing Kroger deli sandwich size. So I know what it feels like to be in those spaces of doing way more and taking on way more. Let's not make this hard in this industry. Like if you say, because the work is easy, we're not building rockets. We're not. However, for African Americans, not only are we not building rockets, but we're also dealing with discrimination and a lot of barriers there. So the come up for a lot of us is a challenge. So let's work together. Let's get this in. Let's be honest with one another. Let's call one another out on it. Listen to a Black person. That's gonna be my thing. Listen to a Black person this week, next week. If you all want, for those who want allyship and want to work together, and you want more information or just where to kind of start, reach out to some of your African American friends. We're more than happy to give you information to explain more of our plight, to even explain more about the solutions. I'm gonna be solutions all day. That's all I'm gonna be. So I appreciate you all having me on. I'm so glad I was able to witness it, and I feel good that we really can start something and hit the ground running. So you can fade me to black if you want.
Thanks, Carmen.
And thank you, Carmen, for sharing that as well. And I want to go ahead and start wrapping up. And she brought up a great point, and we need to have that conversation about starting something, challenging and continuing the question with, the solution with AAEP, but I'm all for it. So if you guys, we can talk later about something together. Let me take her off really quick and bring Mike back on. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up. And I just want to ask the agencies as we end this discussion tonight. And we had a question too as well. Let me just read it really quick. Are the agencies willing to lose money to stand up for situations in which a client may be discriminatory or have bad business practices? So that's the first question.
The quick answer is yes, and I'll say that we have fired clients in the past. I will say that luckily in the last 4 or 5 years we haven't had any issues with clients, specifically being racist on site that we've gotten back to us or requesting to be racist when they're choosing of staff. A lot of our clients are major brands that understand the diversity and the need for the diversity. So we don't have many issues right now. In the past, we definitely have. And we, unfortunately, we looked at it and said it's not worth our name being tied to that, and had recommended them to other agencies saying, hey, unfortunately, we can't endorse what you're asking, but here's some other agencies that may be willing to help you out. And obviously there's 1,000 different agencies out there, and they can go with anybody under the sun. And it's something that our reputation and is more important to me and our staff than that little bit of dollars and cents that would come from it.
Yeah, that's really the truth. Joe hit the nail on the head. I mean, we've had to make that call because we just don't feel comfortable, and no amount of dollars is worth myself personally and the people I work with and the people who work with us to feel uncomfortable. We all, as an agency owner, we've all walked into the elephant in the room. We've all been there when the conversation has had to be had, where a client has requested something and it's awkward and it's uncomfortable. We've had to have the conversations with staff about things that are awkward and uncomfortable. We wouldn't be doing this at this level if we weren't willing to take those sacrifices to make sure that the people who work on our team and the people who work in our industry are protected and taken care of.
There's too much work out there. As agency owners, we don't have to compete with anybody. We don't have to compete with each other. There's way more work out there than any of us agency owners can handle. So why would you make your job even harder? There's no reason to.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have. And when I was at the former agency, I got in trouble for doing the same thing. So, I mean, it's just, it's not worth it. At the end of the day, like, we got to look at ourselves in the mirror in the morning. So, it's not worth it. And I'll take it past racism, sexism, anything like that. Having clients on site that are looking for their next girlfriend, we shut that down too. So it's equal opportunity shut down with us. So
yeah, we've had plenty of difficult conversations with clients, no matter what it is, and sexism is a perfect example of it. And we've had to tell them, hey guys, you can't be doing this on site. They're trying to be here professionally. You have to treat them with respect. And if you're not, then unfortunately you can't staff this event.
Shut it down.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had to, I have had to protect some of my female workers that I've had, or co-workers when I was in the field, like, and pulled a manager or the, account executive to the side, like, hey, y'all need to holler at your client because he tripping. And, and as far as like, clients coming to us and saying, oh, we don't want African American. And I'm like, oh, let's hop on this FaceTime real quick. Well, why do you not want African American? Can you explain it to me? Like, we don't play that in our agency. Like, I work too hard to get where I am. I feel like, I know as an African American woman that we are not given the same amount of opportunities as everybody else. So it's not gonna fly. Not at our agency ever.
So to end this conversation, first, thank you guys for being a couple of the few that were willing and able to speak on this subject with regards to agencies. So what would you say in closing to the other agencies who have not stepped up to the plate?
Don't be afraid of the conversation. I think that a lot of, speaking to Iffy's point, that a lot of the account executives and the leadership at a lot of these brands and, executives look, you can't say that you want diversity and inclusion and you're all for, including everybody, and then you look at all your account executives and they're all white or they're all, it just doesn't work. Like, you have to fix your home first before you try to come and put this persona out that you care about diversity and inclusion. If your whole staff, all your account executives, they have no experience out in the field, have never worked in the field, and don't know what it's like to be outside in 110-degree weather, and your client is telling you your staff needs to wear pants and they can't have hats and sunglasses and they can't have a water bottle in their hand, like, your account executives need to go to bat for the staff. And, I think that it needs to be an overhaul in this industry, with not just, not just how people are perceived, but the account executives. Because if there was more representation, if there was more Asians and more Latinos and there was more African Americans, then we wouldn't have a lot of these bias and discriminatory things that are happening. Like, you need to look at what's going on at your agency, at the agency level, and maybe you need to do some house cleaning, or maybe, do some self-reflection and see what you can be doing to fix it.
Jay, sorry, can I say something? I took some notes that I really got to share with us here tonight. Sorry, I did, because I'm a writer. I write stuff down, and I even wrote on the envelope. But I wanted to say 3 things, and I'll make it quick. One, as a Black person, having worked for Assist Marketing, I'm gonna tell people I don't think Joe is a racist. I'm a Black person. Listen to me, trust me. No one loves Black people more than me. I don't think Joe is a racist. I think Assist Marketing may be a little bit elitist, but just Google that, figure out what that is. Number 2, the staffing experiential agency is a business. It's not a charity. So then when you're done Googling elitist, Google entitlement, because we don't just get things simply because we want it. And then last but not least, don't just listen to Sierra's song like level up, level up. No, level up. Do it. If you're going to show up for a job, be the best person there. Be the smartest person there. Research that product specialist knowledge like you've never researched it before. And here's what's going to happen. An agency is going to get such good feedback about you. They're going to be kicking themselves, wondering why in the world we missed out on this girl all this time. So level up on all levels. That's all I wanted to say.
Well said, Iffy. Well said.
I guess I would say that, you're asking what we should say to other agencies is, I think our agency altogether feels that we want to be on the right side of history. And we want to understand that we need to be more inclusive and we need to be more diverse and we need to lift everyone up, because that's the way we need to be, and plain and simple. And we need, as America, to be all inclusive about our events. We need all different races and sexes and languages and stuff to be spoken at our events, because you're connecting with different people all the time on that kind of stuff. And so I would say, to be more diverse on their sites and stuff like that, because it's gonna raise the industry as a whole. And as far as what I would say to field staff, do the best you can and ask questions as to what you can do to become better and what can you do to stand out. All of us agencies are very, very open to be looking at your profiles and saying, hey, here's something. If you have any Instagram filtered photos on your profile, get rid of them immediately. You're hurting your chances, plain and simple. Look at your photos and say, what's good and bad about those photos? What do I need? We ask for, full body shots. We ask for headshots. We ask for, events photos. Think about that. It takes literally 2 seconds to go outside at an event with someone and say, hey, do you mind if I take a picture? I'll take your picture. You take my picture before or after an event in front of a truck or in front of a tree or whatever else it is, because those are the current photos, and update those and send them. Send me an email. Send me an email saying, hey, here's a picture from my latest event that I work with this agency. Would love to work with your agency. That shows your commitment and your interest in working with the agencies. Obviously, with 50,000 people in the industry, it's extremely difficult to to connect with every single person. And we definitely try. Right now, we have a few of our staff that all they're doing all day, every day, unfortunately, during this point, since we don't have events, is doing interviews. And reach out to these agencies and say, hey, I haven't worked with you before. Is there a way I can get an interview during this period? Because you're preparing yourself for the future. You're preparing when events come back. You're going to be one of the few that's going to be called back right away. So obviously, there's a lot of people are getting certifications. Get your food handler certification. Get your CDL. Get whatever else it is. You know, obviously, J and T, you can speak to this, and Carmen can speak to this of how inclusive and how tough it is to get on the road. You know, and getting tour gigs, especially your first one. You know, obviously, you guys have been on it for years. You know now that but I mean, I was on it. I started in 2002 being on the road, and back then, this was before all the Facebook groups and everything else was out there. They just picked the phone and called me, you know. But now I said, you know, man, I wouldn't want to be just starting out in the industry trying to get on the road because it's so tough. You know, you're going against people that have 7-8 years experience, and you have to stand out. So figure out a way to stand out. Figure out a way to positively stand out, and not go right to the agency and say, oh, you didn't hire me because of my race, because that's not gonna make them feel like they want to work with you again. Figure out, ask them what it was. You know, don't tell them why they didn't hire you. Ask them why they didn't hire you, because a lot of chances it's going to be, hey, this person, this client worked with this person before, they were available, they chose them over that. It's mostly not going to be as a result of it. Sometimes absolutely it is, and we all know that there are those chances, but we're trying to get rid of those chances as much as possible.
All right, Tinslee, Eric.
I think it's all good advice. I would just give agency owners the advice that at this point in time, neutrality is not an option. You either need to take a stand or not. And if you're not taking a stand, then you have no business being in this industry. It's just not an option anymore. And I think if you're at the point where you aren't making decisions to actively give people opportunities in this industry that deserve it, then you need to go talk to your staff. You need to go get your heart broken a few times and listen to their stories and listen to what they have to say. Because I promise you, there's no individual out there that's going to sit with their staff members and listen to these stories and hear the times that they have had their hearts broken in the industry and not want to take a stand. You know, we're feisty and we get a lot of pushback from a lot of people. But at the end of the day, I don't care, because our employees look up to us and they look at us for leadership and guidance. And if we don't take a stand about something that's so important, then what are we teaching our employees? So I think that that's the biggest advice I would give agency owners is this isn't a yes or no situation. Take a stand and do something about it.
And if you're an agency owner, or even if you're an account executive and you feel uncomfortable and you don't know how to address it, ask questions and then listen to people, because too many times people want to jump in and give their piece of advice. And as a white male who grew up in America in the middle to upper class, I don't understand. I don't get it. I've never faced some of the oppression and the diversity that you guys have. So to hear these stories and to talk to our staff, it's changed me from internally to say, what is wrong with our system? Why is there so much systemic racism going on today? You can draw the line all the way back as far as you want, but if you aren't sure, ask, educate yourself, and don't be afraid, because now's the time to do it. Nobody's going to judge you for asking questions. Just listen to them.
Mm-hmm. Well said, guys. And I just want to thank all of you. Iffy, girl, you came out blazing tonight. This ain't the Iffy that came out last night. And Carmen too. And I want to bring her back on the screen in a minute. And I want to say this. Thank you guys for having this conversation. Thank you for being transparent. Thank you for being honest, because this is what our industry needs. This is what EXPs need to hear. And this is what is going to ultimately help change the course of what was to what it is and what it can be. So I just want to, it just brings me joy to just hear this and to hear us have these positive conversations, these respectful conversations. And I'm hoping that, you know, my EXPs, Carmen, everybody who spoke tonight have, and Mike, I'm sorry, Mike, have provided a newfound perspective and insight, you know, into what it's like from the EXP standpoint. And what I want to do is just bring Carmen on and Jamar to just show, you know, how diverse our industry is, in spite of we can have these conversations. So I'll give the EXPs the floor for a minute, and then I'm going to let you guys go. All right.
Okay, I'm back. Everybody see me?
Yep.
I just really want to send a lot of love again to everyone here on the panel, everyone that tuned in to watch. It's just time to do the work. Thank you so much, Tinslee, for saying what you said. Grayscale, Joe, you all are in a very beautiful position. To be the leaders in this, right? You all have the opportunity to pull yourself ahead of the crowd, if you will, as leading and being those leaders and the people who believe in coming together and committing to diversity, to fairness, to protection of everybody involved, and to overall see that we put out good work. I mean, that's what we're doing this for. We're all in this to put out good work, to put out fun events. We've all had this opportunity afforded to us to experience life in a way that your regular 9-to-5 person doesn't. Let's really not taint this because it has become tainted for a lot of people. This industry, for African Americans in particular, the experience has become tainted. Let's not taint that experience. We have more than enough time to turn this thing around, and I feel very confident that we can do that. So everyone who knows me, those who don't know me, my heart, your heart, one love. That's all I got.
Thanks, Carmen.
Thank you.
So with that being said, I'm going to post the agency's website for all the EXPs who want to apply for opportunities. You know, we're going to be coming out of this pandemic soon, so I know opportunities are going to be arising. So take their advice, EXPs, heed everything that they said tonight, and let's move forward together. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Be safe. Bye.
Bye.